Everybody, I wanted to talk to you today about 3 reasons you will hate it in Louisville, Kentucky. And I know that maybe seem counterintuitive since I'm a real estate agent in Louisville, Kentucky, but I think that you should know what you're getting yourself into if you're moving to Louisville, Kentucky. So here we go with my top 3 reasons you would not want to move here and that you will hate it here. The first one is college basketball. I was not as I guess, adept to college basketball, not as knowledgeable. Really wasn't something I followed a lot, a little bit, but not like they do here. So I came from Wisconsin, which, as you I'm sure know, is definitely a Packer city. It's I'm from just north of Green Bay, and that's all we had is the Packers. Most of the time, the Bucks, Milwaukee Bucks, the NBA team, was not very good, and back then. And then the Brewers were good about once every, I think, 10 to 20 years they'd make a run for something, and that was kind of it. Now you probably saying to yourself, "Well, what about Wisconsin?" And that's the University of Madison in Madison. So it's the University of Wisconsin slash Madison. As in Wisconsin, we have a whole UW system. But in where I'm from is 60 miles north of Green Bay, and the top half of the state is very, very different than the bottom half of the state. And I'm here telling you about Wisconsin, but I say all that to say that we followed it some. We did, but Packers in my home anyway. Let's put it this way: the Packers were everything. I mean, we followed the draft, we followed off season, we went to the Hall of Fame. It was just a whole encompassing thing. So coming to a basketball state and a basketball city, college basketball state, college basketball city, was very different. And I didn't really get it at first. I mean, when people were traveling for tournaments and they take off work, I'm looking around like, what is going on here? And obviously that's all before Derby. So then they're all taking off for the Derby. So if you are not a fan of it, if it irritates you, this is just probably not one of the places you would want to move because it is so ingrained into the culture. We have literally had customers pee on our truck because we had the University of Louisville Cardinal logos because we were sponsors at the time, and because they were a University of Kentucky fan, believe it or not. And so it's a very divided, very heated rivalry. Even though some people will argue that there's not really a rivalry, Louisville's not that good anymore, blah blah blah. But the point of the matter is that it's definitely a college basketball city and state. Now, to add to that, as a little side note, it's become a football state, college football. University of Kentucky has gotten really good. Obviously, the University of Louisville, we had Teddy Bridgewater and Lamar Jackson, which both went to the NFL. And Lamar is doing great, even currently. So, college football has taken an upward tick over the last few years. I guess maybe 10 years, 8 to 10 years, something like that, and gotten very popular. There'll be brackets, and I mean that will encompass and not dictate. It'll rule the workplace. Like people stop working, they're going to watch. They take off work. Not much really gets done during tournament time. So understand that. We have the Yum Center downtown, and that's where the University of Louisville Cardinals play. And then 70 miles up the road, we have Rupp Arena, which is where the University of Kentucky plays. And many things you don't want to go downtown when there's a basketball game because traffic will be terrible. So just understand that you'll be dealing with a lot of knuckleheads that will be die hard and sometimes just plain out ignorant when it comes to their team. Okay. All right. So my name is Margaret Weathers, and I am a real estate agent in Kentucky. And I'm just trying to give you some information about, should you move here? Would you want to move here? Would you hate it here? Some things that would help you make that decision. So my number 2 reason that you would maybe hate it here is if you are not a gun person. Guns are very prevalent in the city for crime reasons and very prevalent in the country for hunting reasons. So I would say that most of the time you will be around people that have guns on them. Um, versus city or country, doesn't really matter. In Kentucky, the carry conceal permit has gone away, so you do not it is not required. You can conceal carry without a permit now. Now, when I first got my carry conceal permit, oh, I don't know, maybe 15 years ago or so, maybe a little less, it was the law of the land. And then since it has gone away, now I still have my carry conceal permit because if you go to another state, um, there's a lot of reciprocity. Many states have reciprocity in that. So I want to have that available. Plus, it just lets law enforcement know, hey, I have no felonies because you have to pass a background check. So I do keep mine. I think mine renews next year. So if guns bother you, either in the country or the city, either way, this is probably not the place you want to come. Or maybe then you need to, learn about guns, get comfortable with guns, and embrace it. And hopefully, I'm giving you some information that is helpful to your search for a new home and new place. I know a lot of people can work from home now, so you're not really relegated to a specific maybe city or state anymore, and you can work remotely, so you can pick your place. And we've seen a lot of people leaving the more expensive states and coming to other states that are less costly to live, so they can get more bang for their buck. $1 million in Kentucky goes far farther than it does in California. So as I move to my third and final reason that you will hate it here in Kentucky, what I'd like to do is ask you to hit subscribe, hit the like button, and write down my number. It's 502-664-9971. And I'd ask if you'd call me if you have any questions about real estate, any questions about moving to Kentucky, about Louisville. I really just love to help people. I know that's cliche-ish, but if you ask anyone, I help people even if there's no true benefit to me. That's not a requirement for me to help you. We own a moving company, as you probably can see the background, and so not only can I find you a home, but I can move you into it and out of your old one. So moving on to my number three reason to hate Louisville or Kentucky specifically would be the humidity. Coming from a northern state and being a fat girl with curly hair, I know my hair is not curly right now, but it's naturally curly. It sucked. I'll tell you, the first 2 years, I stayed inside the whole time. I literally went from the building to my car fast as I could to the next building. I didn't go outside for anything. And it's funny because I had bought some rollerblades. I thought, okay, I'm going to get healthy. And I bought some rollerblades and realized that my ankles were just not going to take it. And then it was too damn hot out here. So I took them back the same day, and I'm not a person to return anything, so that was very weird for me too. But I took them back, and I remember talking to my dad about, well, I'm finally in a warm weather state, and I can maybe buy a convertible because, of course, buying a convertible in Wisconsin is somewhat counterintuitive because you only have a few weeks of summer every year. That's how I look at it, as a few weeks of summer every year. And he said, well, if it's so hot, would you really want a convertible either? So that was a good point. I'm a fat girl from Wisconsin and from the north, and heat and humidity were just brutal for me. It took me the first 2 years really before I would venture outside and stay for any length of time. Still not crazy about the heat. If my husband wants me to leave work, he'll go ahead and turn the air conditioner off so that I'm uncomfortable. And although I'm getting better, I have long sleeves on now, mostly because I've had skin cancer and I just trying to keep my arms covered a little bit more. But the humidity it wreaks havoc on my hair. I straighten my hair with a comb, a hot comb, and although in my older age I don't have as much hair, but it was just ridiculous. I mean, frizz up all the time. And then just depends on the summer. If we have a lot of rain, there's of course some years we have more than others. I feel like the first part of this summer we really didn't have much rain, and then we've had a lot the last 6 weeks, so it's kind of half and half. Um, but the humidity is a bugger. It really is. It's what they call it, the air that you wear. And I thought that was hilarious because growing up in Wisconsin, we used to talk about, oh, it's not the heat, it's the humidity. There's no humidity in Wisconsin compared to this stuff. It is real. And sometimes what goes along with that are breathing issues. So if you have asthma or allergies, you can be really affected by the weather here. I know a lot of people that have asthma, and they have to have their inhalers ready because of the alert days that we have with the humidity and the heat. And but the weather does a good job. The weather people, they do some great jobs letting you know those ahead of time, telling you to stay indoors on those days if you have those breathing issues, letting you know the pollen count and that. And one thing with the Ohio Valley, which is where we're at, we there are a lot of people with allergies. It's amazing how many people have allergies. I do not, praise God, but so many people do. And they say, well, if you stay here long enough, you'll have allergies. And I haven't. I've been here 26 years, and my dad had allergies up in Wisconsin. Obviously, they weren't as going to be as affected as they would be down here. But when he did come to visit, he noticed a significant increase in his symptoms from his allergies. So there are some reasons that if you are thinking about Kentucky, that you may want to think a little harder, and if those are just some non-negotiables for you, then you might want to find a different state to move to. um, if guns is just the only reason, maybe moving to the country, you feel a little more comfortable than moving into Jefferson County or Louisville. um, but I'm a gun person, so I don't it doesn't bother me. At least we're all equally yoked in that. And so my husband is a gun carrier. My family, we carry conceal. We go to the range. I encourage other people to go to the range, take classes. So um, so those are the things that you may want to just really consider before moving here. So if there's anything that I can do to help you, please give me a call, 502-664-9971. Again, 502-664-9971. My name is Margaret Franzen, and until next time, I just said my maiden name. Is that crazy? Margaret Weathers. Until next time, take care of each other. Bye-bye.